Heyo adventurers, this is Derek. In this episode of my TTRPG design vlog, I will be speaking about combat in TTRPG games, especially games like D&D 5th edition and other games that take a similar approach. I want to design a game that fits my needs, and so I look to popular games to see what I like and what I don't. And there's a lot to like and to not like about D&D 5e. The problem in D&D 5e's combat is that it takes too much time. At lower levels it is noticeable, but as you level up, the problem compounds as characters get more options, more spells, they get access to more reactions, but more importantly they get more hit points, they become more resilient. And the same goes for the monsters. They also become more resilient, they have more hit points, but as you level up, they also do get more reactions, and then for the bigger ones, they get legendary actions and spells. I have seen this in many games. I started playing with D&D 3rd edition, and battles did take long. Then we played 4th edition, and that wasn't an improvement. They were also long fights. And then for 5th edition, I played campaigns where we leveled up to level 15. That's when we finished the Out of the Abyss campaign. But we also played up to level 12 for Storm King's Thunder and the Curse of Strahd. It's a compounding problem. If you like TTRPG games or you are looking into designing a game, hit the subscribe button. I will be making lots of videos like this one. Also, this is a small channel. I'll take all the engagement I can get. Please like this video, leave a comment, and consider subscribing. So let me give you an example of how this might play out at the table. Let's imagine you have a level 3 party. We have a normal battle. This is not a boss battle, and I am going to now roleplay what a normal round would be for a player. I'm gonna use this stopwatch. Let's imagine I'm the rogue, and this is going to be my turn. Start. Okay, so I'm hiding, so I want to move from the pillar where I was hiding. I am going to rush to this monster, and I am going to sneak attack. If I place my character here, am I flanking? Then the GM might say at that point that flanking isn't necessary, you only need advantage. Back to the rogue. Okay, I do have advantage because I was hiding, so I'm going to sneak attack this orc. Picks the die, rolls it, let's say it's a 14, and he says, okay, I rolled a 14, I have a modifier of +4, so I have an 18 to hit. Does that hit? The GM confirms, yes, that hits. So okay, then I'm attacking with my dagger, so it's 1d4 plus 3d6 for my sneak attack, then he rolls it. We now count the dice, and then he has to add the result. That takes a few seconds, and he's like, okay, it's 9 damage. Now the GM, he says, okay, let me record that. It takes a moment. And then the GM, while I'm saying this, describes heroically, but not very long, how that sneak attack took place. This took me 1 minute and 13 seconds. You could argue that maybe you could do this faster. You would be right. If a player had his actions perfectly memorized and optimized and rolled the d20 and the damage at the same time, they could probably take out a few seconds, but it's not that much. Let's round it down to 1 minute. Fine? Cool. There's 4 players at the table, and this is a conservative number. Some people have more people playing D&D together. And let's say there's 4 players and 4 orcs. So for each player, that first round is going to be 4 minutes, 1 minute each, assuming everything is fast, just like I just roleplayed it. And then the GM has to resolve the actions of the 4 orcs. Now, the GM is not going to take that long, so let's round it down to 2 minutes for the GM to roll the attacks for the 4 orcs. Maybe some of them fail and you don't have to roll damage. So 4 plus 2 equals 6 minutes. That was the first round of combat, but this is too perfect. We all know it doesn't work like this. At some point at the table, someone's gonna say something funny, someone's going to remark something cool that happened last session, someone's gonna get distracted for a minute and he's gonna say like, well, it's my turn? Oh, give me a minute, let me choose my spell. And that's going to add a little more. So let's say this adds 2 more minutes for the chit chat and stuff. And I would say that's conservative because sometimes people get derailed in conversations and it takes more time. Let's just say 2 minutes per round. That brings us up to 8 minutes a round. However, this was assuming 2 important factors. One is that no reaction was triggered. From level 1, attacks of opportunity can be triggered. People tend to not try to trigger them because no one wants to take extra damage, but it happens all the time. So if either a character or an orc in this example triggers a reaction, could be a spell, an ability, or an attack of opportunity, that adds more time. I have to round it up. So let's just say I'm gonna add an average of 1 1 minute for this extra stuff. And the other thing that is not being considered here is the need to check something in the book. Now this one is crazy, and that's why some people have the house rule that no one checks rules once they're seated, and that makes more sense. But in my games, we used to check rules all the time. So let's say the wizard wants to find a spell. They want to check if some spell has whatever descriptor in the description. They have to open this thing. Probably they don't have it bookmarked, so they're gonna have to find it by hand. It's gonna take 3 to 4 minutes. Well, maybe that's too long. Maybe 2 minutes? But let's forget that for a minute. So I have 9 minutes here for a low-level round. Now let's assume that this battle is going to take the party to finish 4 to 5 rounds. I think that makes sense. This means that at this rate of play, that first battle is going to take you from 36 to 45 minutes. But this was a low-level fight with not much going on and not much access to reactions and stuff that just takes more time. Once you get to like level 8, around that, level 8 in D&D 5e, characters are so resilient, they have so many hit points, everyone has reactions available, and yeah, you can only use 1 per round, but it's 1 per round per player and per monster. And if all of them have one and at least half of them get to use it per round, rounds go up to 15, maybe 20 minutes. And at those levels, 4-round fights, they are rare. Fights go up in number of rounds to 8 or 9, and now you're looking at fights that are gonna take 2 hours. And I know that there are so many house rules and so many hacks to speed up D&D 5e, and I gotta say, we pretty much use them all. But still, you're fighting against the tide if you're using this system, because this system is meant to simulate combat and all the options that occur during a fight. And every time a person has to make a choice, that takes time. Probably sounds like I am complaining, but in reality I am not. The simulation engine of D&D is not something I particularly dislike. It's just that I don't have the time for it anymore at this moment in my life. 20 years ago when I was a teenager, and probably until I was 25, when we got together to play D&D, we might have a playtime of at least 6 hours. We would get together, bring a lot of snacks and beer, and we would play 6 hours minimum. Sometimes we would play for 10 hours or more in some legendary sessions. So if we had in front of us a fight at level 7 that we knew was gonna take 2 to 3 hours played by the book, we had no problem. We just had the time and we were eager to have fun. I am still eager to have fun, but I don't have the time anymore. My play group, if we're lucky, we get together twice a month now, if we're lucky. And when we do, we sometimes play 3 hours. Sometimes we have played 2 hours, and I cherish that time with my friends and family. And because of that, if we get together and we're gonna play 2 to 3 hours and we have a fight against some orcs that no one cares about, and that fight is going to take us an hour, it's just too long. It's too long. Why do we have less time now? Well, we're all adults now. I am nearing 40. Some of them have families. We all have now adult responsibilities. We don't have that much time. And I guess this is the reality for a lot of people. As we get older, if we want to be functioning adults, we cannot devote that much time to this hobby. I wish I had the time, but I don't. By the way, this problem is not exclusive to D&D. Many games that try to simulate battle circumstances have it, and the more accurate they try to be, the more similar they are to D&D in how much time they take. Other games where we had this problem, for a short while we played GURPS. In that game, combat also takes a long time. Back there I have Lancer RPG. I have not played it, but from reading it, it's obvious to me that it takes a long time. Now that it takes a long time, it's really not a problem. It's just not what I'm looking for. I also have back there Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. Combat in that game also takes a while. However, because of the style of play, you don't have that much battles in Call of Cthulhu. If you're lucky, you avoided them all. So it wasn't that much of a problem when we did have battles and they became a little slow. I mentioned it before, one of the largest causes of this problem is the HP bloat, the hit points bloat. At level 1, you're gonna have, let's say, from 10 to 20 hit points in D&D 5e, which by old standards, that's a lot. In the old school games, you used to have from 2 to 8, but fine, it is what it is. But as you level up, you keep getting more hit points. Now that would not matter if the monsters had a scaling of damage that went up as fast. In that case, battles would last the same. Double HP, but if monsters do double the damage, it's the same. It's gonna take the same time. But monsters don't get an increase in damage that's that large. Characters also get more armor. Characters also get more access to healing magic and stuff that makes them more resilient, and it takes longer for battles to end. On the other hand, monsters also get a lot more hit points. I have the monster manual right here. I'm looking at the Sahuagin table. This is the Sahuagin Baron. It is a CR5 creature, so it's not that strong. A party of level 8 characters might be fighting these. Each of them has almost 80 hit points. And I know that higher level characters also do more damage, but they don't do that much damage. Maybe one of them can do it one turn if they combo some abilities, like some crazy paladin builds I've seen, but they cannot repeat that each and every turn. So what's the solution? I have seen this trend of people as they get older, and it's not because of the age, it's because you're looking for something that runs faster. They tend to turn to games like this, Old School Essentials, which is BXD&D. And there are many flavors to this. Like you could play Old School Essentials or Dungeon Crawl Classics or Into the Odd. All of those games run faster, and they do run faster. If you do something like Old School Essentials, while this is a lot faster, it also has the same problem that there is an HP bloat. The curve is not that steep. As you get to higher levels, characters do get more hit points, and the monsters also get more hit points. The result is that battles take longer. So one of the important conclusions I get here is that in any game where characters earn more hit points as they level up, battles are going to take longer. They have to take longer because they are more resilient. So if you want to bypass that, what's the solution? I think that the solution for my needs, and maybe yours if you feel somewhat similar to me, is to use a game that has a unified resolution system that can solve a fight with less rolls, maybe even a single roll. For example, in this game, Blades in the Dark, or in these two games, The Burning Wheel and Mouse Guard, in these three games I just showed you, you can resolve that fight with the 4 orcs with a single roll. I will not go into depth with the rules of each particular system, but in few words it works like this. You find the 4 orcs and decide you want to kill them or arrest them or drive them off or whatever. So a person or the whole group makes one roll. If they meet the difficulty or the obstacle or whatever it's named in that game, the orcs are dead. And yes, there's still space in what I have just described for the characters and the GM to narrate how heroic they were at defeating these orcs. And if they don't make it with 100% of success, there's going to be some drainage of resources, or maybe someone's going to be injured, maybe someone might even be dead. However, the whole confrontation with the rolling and the description and everything is probably going to take less than 5 minutes. For higher stakes battles, like the final boss in a dungeon or an end of campaign final fight, you might have this battle have different phases, maybe 3. So this is going to take from 15 to 20 minutes. And that for me sounds promising. I mean, I already played these games with my home group. I know it works. No system is perfect. There's compromises. If you like the simulationist style of games where you have a grid and the minis and you track by 5 footsteps, everyone moving, and you like all that, and the tactical side of it, that's amazing. I mean, I love it too. It only takes too much time that I don't have anymore. Like I said in the beginning, this is not just a rant against D&D. It's my exploration of different mechanics and systems because I want to write my own game. I'm starting to see myself as a game designer, and I want to make a game that fulfills what I need. I know I'm not the only one. I see online so many people complaining about this. It's because of this that people run away from games like D&D and then they go to games like Dungeon World, because in Dungeon World you don't have this problem. The Powered by the Apocalypse games have their own problems, which I might talk about in a different video. I think it's also because of this that we have an approach like Dagger Hearts, which abandons both the tactical side of the minis at the table and also abandons the structure of the rounds and the turns. They have something they call the Spotlight system, which serves to thread the character's actions narratively across a fight or conflict of any kind. I don't particularly like it, but I see how it is a pendulum response to how D&D works and how people want more options. I hope you have learned some crucial stuff about TTRPGs just like I have by researching and making this video. My preliminary conclusion is that I probably will avoid a concept such as hit points and tactical combat for the game I am going to write, because those systems come with problems that go against what I'm looking for. That said, if you have some cool ideas about speeding up combat for games like D&D, leave them in the comments below. Maybe I will not use them, but other people that want to speed up their games might read your comment and it might be useful to them. If you'd like to recommend other games that have unified resolution systems that can resolve complex conflicts with very little rolls, I would love to know about that. As I have said before, I am limited by the number of games I have had the chance to play and to read. I have a cool library back here, but it doesn't have all the games in the world. Okay, thank you for watching. My name is Derek. This is Elven Tower. See you in the next one.